Our next topic is tokens. Now, what are tokens? The smallest atomic indivisible unit within a program is known as a token. A smallest atomic and indivisible unit within a program is known as a token. Tokens are very important. You can say that tokens are actually parts coming out of the Python character set. So for purposes of simplicity, I am going to write a small program over here from which it will become even clearer to you. So I have written a very small and basic program over here, as you can see. That is a simple program which accepts two numbers. One of the numbers is accepted from the user and one of the numbers is assigned. So every symbol which you see, A, this equal to, integer, the left bracket, input, this left bracket, this double quotation marks, then this whole thing which you can see over here, which is within double quotation marks, that is a prompt. Then this double quotation mark, then this right bracket, this B equal to 50, C equal to A plus B, print. Wherever I have put a tick mark, they all are tokens. They all are tokens. That is, they are individual parts or indivisible units within a program which are all collected during the symbol collection phase, that is during the lexical analysis phase of your compilation. You have already studied the lexical analysis phase when we were talking about compilation of a program. During that time, all the tokens in a program are together collected and a symbol table is generated. Because Python is a language which is basically an interpreter based language, but it also uses an inbuilt compiler to generate the internal bytecode. Hence, it also does the lexical analysis phase. And during that time, a symbol table is generated. Symbol table is a collection of all these tokens. So now, how many types of tokens do you see in your program? We are going to see them one by one. So we are going to see types of tokens. Number one, we have keywords, identifiers, literals, punctuators, and number 5 is operators. These are the various types of tokens which you find in your Python program. Next, we will study what are keywords. So now in this class, we are going to study about keywords. In our previous class, students, we had studied about what is the Python character set and what are tokens, and we had seen the types of tokens. So in this class, we are going to start describing the various types of tokens, and we are going to start with the first one, that is keywords. Now, what are keywords? Keywords are also known as reserved words. Words which are already fixed. All these words which you are seeing over here, they are not keywords. Keywords are words in this way. Sometimes we use in, for, while, if, int, float. So these are all various keywords or reserved words. There are many hundreds of reserved words in any programming language. Okay, I have only named a few of them. So these reserved words or keywords, they perform specific task. The task for them is fixed. They all perform a fixed task. Also, you can say they perform a predefined task. The task is already defined beforehand and the code is already embedded in these words. So now these words cannot be used for our own personal use in a program. So these are what? These are keywords. Next, talking about the next type of tokens, that is identifiers. The next type of tokens are identifiers. By the name itself, it should be clear what are identifiers. Now this word identifiers comes from the word identify. Identify what? That is to recognize something. How are we recognized? We are recognized by our names. Okay, so names could be said as our identifiers. That is my name, Gargi, is my identifier with which people can identify me. Similarly, in your program, when you are using various constructs, you might be working with values. Sometimes those values would be fixed, sometimes they would be variable values, that is values which can be changed, but you will be needing something to identify those values. And what are they? They are identifiers. Talking about identifiers, students, there are certain rules with which you have to create identifiers. Let me explain those rules one by one. The very first rule is, it is a long sequence of letters, numbers, and underscore. That is, it can contain letters capital A to Z, small a to Z, digits 0 to 9, and as a special symbol it can only contain an underscore. So it can be long. Okay, there is no restriction on the number of characters which you have in identifiers, but they should be from this group only. Okay, no other special symbol than underscore can be used within an identifier. Second rule, cannot start with digit. Identifier cannot start with a digit. If I write 1 my file, this is wrong. Okay, but if I write or All these three are correct. That is, you cannot start the identifier with any digit, but your identifier can contain a digit anywhere. Okay, so it cannot start with a digit. Can start with underscore. You can use the underscore character any number of times in an identifier, and you can also start your identifier with an underscore. Like if I write, this is correct. Okay, if I write, this is also correct. But if I write it this way, this is wrong because it cannot start with a digit. And you cannot write this way also. This is a hyphen. How do you differentiate between a hyphen and an identifier and an underscore? If you are writing an English letter M, any letter you write, this, when you write the character, when you write this dash halfway through this letter, through the height of the letter, it is a hyphen. But if you write it attached to its baseline, that this is underscore. So this is the difference between hyphen and underscore. Next is cannot contain any other special symbol no special symbol can be there, no white space character can be there, or no punctuators. No operators. For example, if you write something like this, my file, so it contains a space, hence this my file would be wrong. You cannot use it this way. If you are using my dot file, this is also wrong. You cannot use it this way. If you are using this is also wrong. No other special character other than underscore can be used within an identifier name. Okay, and you cannot use any operator also. This is also wrong. And of course there cannot be any spaces also. If you want to differentiate between the different words being used within an identifier, then you can use a technique known as camel case. You might have seen a camel, how a camel has a humped back. Okay, so there is a hump at the back of the camel. So this humped back, we will be using this technique only for naming identifiers. How? We can write it like this. I can write my in small letters and file F we can start in the form of capital letters. If this ink is not visible properly, I will write it again. I will write some more examples of this, like first num. So I can write first like this and num n capital. So this capital letter represents the hump of a camel. Everything in small letters and this second word, and after that if you have any word like if I name something, so first there are three words here, in which the first word is completely small. Right from the second word onwards, every word will have the first letter capital. So you can use this camel case in naming your identifiers, or you can also use an underscore symbol in order to separate the words. But trust me students, camel case is the industry standard. It is used throughout in the software industry to represent your words, to represent your identifiers. Next is Python is case sensitive. Case sensitive means Python differentiates between capital letters and small letters. So if suppose in your program you have an identifier which is written like this, my address, and somewhere else you have used it as this, these three are considered as three different identifiers. That is because Python will always differentiate between capital M and small m. That is the reason why it is case sensitive. Many other programming languages like C, C++, Java, they all are case sensitive languages. But languages like Visual Basic or Simple Basic, it is not case sensitive. Okay, HTML is also not case sensitive. That is, in these languages, if you type the three, that is this my address, and this my address, they would be considered as the same variable or the same identifier. But that is not the case with Python and these languages. So these are the few rules which we saw, based on which any identifier can be created. Another last concept here is, whenever you write an expression, it would be an assignment statement. It is of this form. One sec. Any assignment statement where I am assigning the value to an identifier, it would be of this form. Identifier equals either any constant, that is a literal, or any value, any expression, or any other identifier. Your left hand side will always be an identifier, whereas your right hand side can be any one of these. It could be any literal, it could be any expression, it could be an identifier. How? Let's see. If I write num is an identifier, I can write num equals 50, which is a literal, that is a constant value. I can write num equals any expression like a plus b divided by 5, that is, this is an expression. And I can also write num equals a, which is an identifier. So these three ways you can see over here, where left hand side is always an identifier, whereas right hand side could be a literal expression or another identifier. And here in these cases it is very essential that A and B, they have their values assigned before these statements are executed, because in order to calculate this value of num and this value of num, value of A, B and this A is required. Okay, so here we saw how identifier appears in an assignment statement, and this equal to sign which you see over here, this is an assignment operator. The meaning of this operator is that whenever I am executing any statement like this, where right hand side would be assigned to the left hand side, something like this happens in the memory. That is, somewhere if I am writing num equals 50, somewhere in your memory 50 value might be created, some memory address, and for example I say this memory address is this 1015, and this num is an identifier, that is, it is a label, and this label will be pointing to this object, and this object has a particular type. What is that type here? It is an integer. So this is how Python does the work. That is, any variable or any identifier, it acts as a label for anything. It could act as a label for any object which is stored in the memory. It could act as a label for any function name. It could act as a label for any literal, any expression or any other identifier. So this is all about identifiers. Now, on my left hand side, on this side, you can see some names written. What are these names? These names are the various identifiers. Now what we have to do is, we will be doing a small activity where we would be differentiating between these. We would be finding out which of the identifiers is correct and which of them is incorrect. So we start from the first one, my file. You can see that it is following all the rules for an identifier. So this is correct. No special symbol used. Okay, doesn't start with a digit. There are no spaces in between, so it is correct. Second one, you can see that there are capital letters, underscore characters are used, no spaces anywhere, and there are digits and it doesn't start with a digit. So this is also correct. Next one, Z2, TO, Z9, this is also correct. Coming to this one, the fourth one, it starts with a digit, hence this is incorrect. It cannot start with a digit. If you want, you can correct it. Next, data dash rec. So a hyphen cannot appear over here. Rather, you can write it in this way. Next, my dash file. This is also wrong. Next is underscore ds. This is correct. This is also correct. This is also correct. This is also correct. Coming to the 11th one. Break is a keyword. Hence this is wrong. But if you want to use it, you can change its case. And if you do this, if you change its case, then they both can be used as identifiers. Last one is my dot file. So this dot is illegal. You can write it as my file, or you can use camel case. So we saw some identifiers and how these identifiers can be differentiated in the form of correct and incorrect. So that's all in keywords. That's all in keywords and identifiers. Our next topic would be literals, punctuators and operators.